Welcome to another episode of Clever Dicks. In this episode, we speak to Ruth Marinosa Lopez, or Ruthy as most people call her. Ruthy is a swimmer from Spain who's also spent some time in Chile before coming to live in New Zealand. She's a passionate swimmer who really loves the pool, but has taken up open water swimming with gusto. Ruthy has swum both the length of Lake Taupo and also the Apolima Strait in Samoa, and told us a bit about her experiences in doing that. I think you'll enjoy it, so here we go.
Welcome to another Clever Dicks podcast. Today we're talking to Ruth. Ruth Marinosa Lopez, or Ruth Marinosa, or just Ruthy, or what do you want?
I mean, everybody in the Kohi Kippers, they call me Ruthy because I don't like the spelling in English like Ruth, like how is the English spelling of Ruth? And in Spanish, you say Ruth, right? And I remember talking to you once, and we were discussing about that.
I was listening.
because no one knows how to spell my name as we say in Spanish, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I prefer to listen Ruthy because all the people in Spain or in Chile, they are known by Ruthy. And it's like a friendly name that I have in my clothes. And everything started when Jacob started talking to me, like when he recorded that video at Guhimarama with that small whale that once appeared like 2 years ago, something like that.
Yep.
And he posted a video on YouTube like this was like encounter with a whale with Ruthy. And, you know, all of a sudden, all the people start calling me Ruthy. But I like it the most instead of listen Ruth, because that said is like how you pronounce in Spanish in the south of Spain, and I don't really like it.
So to be fair, you said you were talking to me about your pronunciation. If I recall, you were standing over me and your finger was wagging and you were very loud telling me that it's Ruth,
Yes.
not Ruth or Ruthy.
Yeah.
Ruth.
Well, but that's the issue. Like, I don't really like Ruth. Like,
That's good.
I
Well,
prefer Ruthy.
Yeah, it's
listen,
important.
Clever Dick, before you carry on, your name's not really Jim either, right? Speaking of names, how do you pronounce Jim in your way? Jim. So I was told you pronounce Jim Roderick.
That's actually completely true. If you looked at my passport, you pronounce Jim Roderick. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
How did that
But we're here to talk to Ruthy.
What
Ruth,
else?
I think what we often start off with is just give you an opportunity just to tell us a bit of your swim story, how you want to sort of take it. Do you remember sort of getting your first swimming lessons? Have you been swimming all your life, or was this something that you took up as an adult, or what's your swim story?
No, I have been swimming all my life. My mom was working when I was a kid. She had a pool over there nearby, and she started taking us to that pool and do some swimming lessons. And after that, we start doing like swimming, like in squats, like a small kids squats. And I start racing with those after those swimming lessons.
Where was that?
In Barcelona. Well, I was born in Barcelona.
Yep.
But I was living not in the city center of Barcelona. I was in the suburbs of Barcelona. That is called L'Hospitalet de Llobregat.
Yeah, I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Yes, I believe you.
It's in Catalan. I mean, I'm from a place that after the dictatorship, and I don't want to go into the history, but we have these Catalan names, and and because in Barcelona is surrounded by two rivers, the Rio Llobregat and El Rio Besós, and Hospitalet is near that Llobregat River, and that's why it's called L'Hospital de Llobregat.
Gotcha.
And I have been living there for all my life. And I've been swimming in a pool nearby and in the Club Natació Hospitalet, that is where I was racing, like probably for 6, 7 years.
Yep.
Until I quit and I started doing this life-saving work as a lifesaver at the pool. And I was doing that during the summer, but. Yeah, and I stopped swimming when I was 16, so something 16, 18, after I was doing as a recreational. And when I moved to Chile in 2012, I started doing racing again, like master swimming racing.
Yep.
And that was amazing in the pool. Yeah, it was always in the pool. When I arrived here in 2019, I started swimming with the Kohi Kippers, doing open water. I mean, I before that I was swimming with the Monroskill Masters in the Cameron pool.
Yes.
But I started, and I was doing both because I was waiting for my working visa. I was doing like 2 days during the week with the Monroskill Masters, and on Saturdays I was going to Kohimarama with the Kohi Kippers.
Why did you move to Chile?
It's because of the history of late. No, I mean, there was a situation in Spain that there was a bubble, like all the jobs were cut, and the situation was very bad. And I went to Chile the first time with a scholarship in 2011, and when I came back and I started looking for a job, it was awful.
Yep.
And because of that crisis, I decided to come back to Chile again. And it was in 2012. And when I arrived there, I got a job like so quickly.
Okay.
And it was so easy. And at the end, it's like, okay, it was like whatever until the situation in Spain is getting better. And I mean, I was
waiting.
Good. Well, I mean, now it's better, but the thing is, like, I was nice. It was nice in Chile, and I was doing all what I was doing trail run, I was doing swimming, I was doing triathlon, I was doing a lot of activities that I was multi-sportive, and, my job was nice, and I earned good money, and at the end, the balance. But always swimming was there, right? Yep. I mean, swimming has been always in my top, like on a priority. And because I was doing racing, and I have never been good, right? I mean, I was always the last when I was racing, but I'm this effort.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like this kind of person that I'm working a lot, but you don't have this the results after. But I really like it, and I really like to work hard, right? And that's what I enjoy. And that was the situation. I mean, it was really nice in Chile, and the championships. I mean, all the races, and all the community, the masters community, the swimming master community in Chile is great. Yeah. I love it. That's what that's what I like the most. When I started swimming with Barbara, for example, everything changed.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because swimming with Gabriel and Barbara and all the smart swim team over there, it was so great. And that changed 180 degrees. I mean, I was doing like not recreational, but it was like quite like, low impact.
Yeah.
But when I started swimming with Barbara in a 50-meter long pool and with her and chasing each other, it was great. That's why. Yeah, so exactly.
I've always kind of known of you as an ocean swimmer. Do you still do the Masters pool events here in New Zealand?
Not anymore. No. When I arrived here, I started swimming with the Monroskill Masters, and I don't want to blame them. I mean, it's not a big group. And when you start seeing all the races on the calendar for racing, it's not that big. I mean, I was expecting more. And at the end, because open water had more, more community and more
activities,
more things to do. And I was doing I started doing squats with Hayden. Hayden is not he's not managing the squads as a competitive staff.
Yeah.
For me, it was easier to go through open water, and I had all these crazy bastards around, and you could manage to do something more interesting by yourself. I mean, the issue is that you are doing by yourself. You are not. Even there is a community, is like, it's the feeling is different than when you are doing racing. I mean, because you have relays. I mean, I love it when I was in Chile to do relays, for example, or to enjoy that excitement, right?
Yeah.
You are gonna beat each other.
Adrenaline rush, yeah.
I love it that. I love it that. And that's the first thing that I start looking for here, but I saw that there was not.
Yeah, it's a lot smaller, right?
Yeah, and I mean, Chile has 17 million, right? Here you only have 5 million, but only Santiago in Chile has 8 million of people. That's the difference, right? I mean, here in Auckland it's only 1.6, and if you want to do something else, you need to have a good competition, like a good national competition, and that's only happening once a year, right?
Yes.
And and I saw, I know that.
Okay, so to summarize, you're saying the New Zealand pool swimming masters fraternity sucks, and we've got a bit of work to do to fix it.
That's my point of view. I mean, I saw that there are so many people. I mean, I saw that. I mean, I was checking to register to the nationals because it was like 2 weeks ago. It was the 8th and the 8th and the 9th of June. But at the end, it was like, it's a lot of money. And I don't have a community, right? It's like, if you are not in a group, you cannot do.
Yeah, it's not so much fun, no.
But it's been quiet, right? To your point, I mean, I didn't hear much about the Masters champs, right? And again, maybe we're not in those circles, but you would expect to maybe see a little bit more on whatever social media.
I see a little bit. I know a couple of people on the shore that the North Shore guys.
They competed.
They compete. I don't know how big it is because I've always just sort of gravitated towards the open water, and also because you think you're slow. You've got competition for the back of the pack here.
But when I arrived here to Auckland in 2019, I was living in North Coast, and I was swimming in Glenfield.
Oh yes.
There was a squad every morning at 5:30, I think, in the Glenfield pool. And I was joining that squad when Tony O'Hagan was still alive. I mean, when Tony O'Hagan was doing that squad. And, there were like 2 or 3 guys from the North Shore Masters, and they were fucking fast.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love pool. I can tell you, I love pool, but I'm not a fast swimmer even in the pool.
What strokes did you swim? Freestyle or did you do?
Breaststroke.
Yeah,
breaststroke. Okay. I was always a breaststroker. I mean, I love it, the 200 breaststroke. But
what time did you do?
3 something.
That's pretty quick.
Three. I don't know. I mean, it was 130, 140 in 100 something like. No, it's 3. It should be 320 or something like that. Yeah.
I can't do that. I can't even do breaststroke. So listen, you are now a permanent resident, right? So we're stuck with you now, yeah? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was so quickly. I mean, I applied because I had my 2 years on the 27th of May, and I applied, I think that if I remember correctly, it was the 1st of June, and I had my residence the 10th of June, and it was like 10 days only, like to have and now that I'm traveling to Spain, it's like, I can do whatsoever. Yeah. No one can, if I didn't have anything, I needed to apply to be able to travel, but now I don't need to change anything. That as soon as you're really you cannot be as all the inputs you have in there these days, that's awesome. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
All right. How did you find the Kohi Kippers? How did you track him down?
Mark is gonna laugh about that because Mark and Jackie, we were last week on the Warriors, and he was telling me like, I'm gonna listen to you. I'm gonna see what is going on.
Make sure you don't talk shit about me.
Exactly. No, I mean they are awesome. I mean, they have been always like very supportive. I mean, it's nice and it's so nice.
That's a great little community.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, since the beginning, they were always like, amazing people. I'm Mark and Jackie probably, it's like they have been always, asking or whatever. And it was amazing when they came at the end of my Taupo swim. I mean, they never told me, but when I found out all in the dark, I was shit at the end of my Taupo swim, and when I found it there, and I only wanted to cry. They were like, like a small kid, like it was amazing. But yeah, all of them, I mean. Even
So tell me, so from when you arrived and you've now decided New Zealand master swimming is shit and you tracked down Mark and Jackie and you joined Kohi Kippers, how long was that time period before you did Lake Taupo, 40 kilometers?
I mean, I started open water, it was 2020. It was at the end of 2020. It was September 2020.
Yeah. And Taupo was?
All this year, 2024.
You can't look at your watch. It's not going to help you tell you.
I don't know. I mean, it's like to see the date. I mean, it's 2024. I mean, it's less than 4 years. Well, 3 years.
3 years.
And
But I start doing squats 1 year and a half ago. I mean, because when I started swimming only with the Kohi Kippers, and it was like probably with a year. But at that time I only had my sponsorship visa, and I didn't know what was going on. Money was not the same, and until I didn't have like a good relationship with my sponsor, or and as soon as you have more savings, you are starting, because even the sports are not, are not cheap. I mean, it's like, and if you are going to the debits that, like, those are the ones that I knew it, because, and I was living in the city. You need to know how are you going to manage to go at 5:30 in the pool, and how are you going to go, and how are you going to, it's logistics wise, it's like
it's a balancing act. Yeah.
But that was the pool that I like it, and I tried once with Hayden, and I really like Hayden. Yeah. And we have this relationship. Like,
so that converted to English is Hayden for the.
Well, the thing is, like, I mean, I knew it that the squats because of Nev, and Nev, I have been, like, Nev is like my dad, right? Like, no, not my dad, but I'm looking at him like my next step, right?
Like a mentor, yeah?
Yeah, like a mentor, exactly.
So did Nev do Taupo before you or after?
Yeah, he did it in 2019. I didn't even know them. Okay. And I didn't even know what, I mean, I always love pool. I always love pool. I mean, I never was and I have been always scared about open water, right? That's the problem. I mean, when I was doing open water in Spain, I was freaking out all the time.
What are you scared of?
The depth.
Just the fact that there's so much
I remember the first time that I went to Apolima, to Samoa, to do the Apolima Strait.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later, yeah.
Well, but I remember that was the most scary part, because I remember when Seri told us one day, like, we are gonna go to the stick and back, and in Samoa you have clear water, right? And you could see like all what is going on, all the wildlife that you have behind. And I saw a turtle, right? And it was amazing. I was like freaking out, like, what is going on? But as soon as you cross that reef. The first time that I did it was breathless. Yeah. I mean, I can tell you, it was breathless. I mean, it was like, okay, let's start. Let's stay calm. But I can tell you that first. But after that, it was nothing. But that first time, and that's what it was scary to me. I mean. Yeah. And it happens to me in Spain, because in Spain you normally have clear water. It's not like here, like it's like a small pool. Yeah. And you are like covered, and you are like surrounded, right? Yeah. But in Spain, in the Mediterranean Sea, normally you don't have anything in the front, and it's like scary. Like, where are you gonna go? Right?
You're
You
in
are
the
gonna go to
open
Italy.
ocean. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this depth. I mean, and this, you know, big space. But here you don't have that, right? You are like sheltered everywhere. I mean, it's more, you know, you have ronquitoto everywhere. I mean, if I don't have ronquitoto, I don't have anything like in front. You know, probably I'm struggling.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to swim with someone else, because that's, you know, what you have.
We swim with an old naval captain. Is that what I would reference, Vic, as? What's
Yeah,
a technical
yeah.
term? Yeah.
I don't know, Commodore or something.
So
No,
a ship's captain, right?
he's been at sea his entire life.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
So interesting fact that he told us is that anywhere on the North Shore, for example, to Rangitoto, the deepest part is only about 16 meters.
Oh my goodness.
And that always gives me a bit of security that it's not that deep, right? We're pretty close to shore. Even though
But that's the
16
difference,
meters,
because
16
I remember when we did the harbor crossing, and I was discussing why the boys were drifted, because they were drifted and the wind was taking, and this because, and I discussed it with Hayden, and he told me, like, you have more depth. I think that you have like 20 meters depth in the harbor, in the near the wharf, and it's like, that's why, you know.
Yeah.
But
you know,
it's interesting how different people think different things. You know, anything more than 2 meters, it makes no difference to me. You can't touch the bottom.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't matter whether it's 2 meters or 2 kilometers. It doesn't bother me.
Floating on the
Well,
top.
But different people have different approaches, right?
yeah, but you don't see. I mean, you are swimming in Kohi and you don't see the
I was swimming out at Tahiti 3 weeks ago. And you see a lot there.
Well, that's the thing. The first time that I saw it was in Samoa. When I went like 2 years ago to Samoa, when I did my first attempt to, because that day was good, right? Not when I was trying to do the swim, but that day when we went out, it was like,
It's wonderful.
it's wonderful, but it's scary. For me, it was scary. I mean, I could tell you, it was like, oh my goodness.
I want to bring you back to Lake Taupo, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's fine.
Jumping around.
You are the boss here.
No, that's Alison upstairs. So you get to Taupo, you've obviously done some homework, you've done some training. Maybe tell us a little bit about the training, you know, what type of distances you were swimming, what your sort of long swims looked like. Did you have a plan with your feeding? I'm assuming you went with Phil Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he would have, you know, had that part of it waxed in terms of looking after you and the route taken. But just tell us, you know, take us through that journey.
I mean, but the problem, I mean, Taupo was always on my mind. I mean, because I always wanted to do it, and the year before, I tried to do it, but there was a misunderstanding with Phil Rush, and at the end, because I was going to Spain, and at the end, it's like I was not in a mood. It was, you know, that.
I
anyway,
remember that you were grumpy for a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I was not good. I mean, mentally, it was a bad. Yeah, it was. I struggled a lot with that trip to Spain. Anyway, the thing is, like, I told Phil that I was not going to do it, and but it was still on my mind. But Barbara came in March to do her Kohi Strait swim.
Yep.
And when she came to do the Kohi Strait, I was supporting her to do her swim, and she wanted to come back again, right? Because she loved it a lot, New Zealand, and we were discussing, and because we are friends, it was like, okay, let's swim together, and it's like, okay, let's. And I told her, you know, my plan is to do Taupo next year, right? And she told me, yeah, well, I can do that too, right? And at the end, she didn't come whatsoever, you know, plans, calendar, whatsoever. And I was sticking, I wanted to stick to my plan, right? Yeah. And I discussed it with Phil. I make the deposit, and I had my plan. I had Nev on my side, like helping me.
Training,
like,
and yep.
Yeah, and Hayden was, I mean, Hayden knew my plans, and we were.
So this is how long now before? So your journey, like, what, 6 months, 3 months?
It was March 2023 when Barbara came.
Yeah.
I had
So you had booked it for the following season.
Yeah, exactly for summer 2024.
Okay.
The thing is like, I was going to Chile in November, and I was going to visit all my friends in there. I was going to visit Barbara over there.
Yeah.
And I used that timing to build up my swimming.
Yeah.
And I used the 3 weeks that I was with Barbara to swim a lot with her, and that was a lot. That was a very big difference on my training. But
so mostly in the pool or in the ocean.
In the pool.
So big distance.
In Santiago, you don't have. The Pacific is quite cold.
Yeah.
And from Santiago to Viña or to Valparaiso, if you want to swim in open water, Viña is quite cold. Even in November, that is like early summer. The thing is, like, because she has a good equipment and or good support.
Yeah.
We were swimming in La Católica, and she invited me to swim with her because she swam by herself with Gabriel. But I used those 3 weeks to build up with her, and I knew that after that it was my own training, and I used the 3 weeks during Christmas to build up all my not my pace, because you don't need to build your pace, it's you build up your volume, right?
Yeah.
And I use it to build up after that. When I came back in November, I was struggling with work, but that's another issue. But the thing is, like,
just balancing time to train.
It was hard. It was hard because work was tough at that time. When I came back from Chile last year, yes, I was struggling a lot with work. But anyway, I already took my leave to have full Christmas, to have it for training.
Yeah.
And that was my timing, because my window was at the end of January.
Okay.
I feel, but that is, I knew that my Christmas was going to be like my longest swim, and that's what I did.
So what was your longest swim? How far?
It was 2 weeks of 40K.
So 2 weeks of 40Ks, and an individual long swim, because obviously you're not training for a 40 kilometers.
I did like 1 week. It was like 10, 8, 13, 10.
So you stood at the start of Lake Taupo to swim 40 kilometers, and the furthest you had swum in one go was about 13.
Yeah, 15. Yeah, 13, 15. Yeah.
Okay. Were you scared?
No.
No? Tell her you can be honest with us.
I need to tell you what I was feeling. I was feeling crap at that time.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, I knew that I was capable to go farther, right?
Yeah.
Why were you feeling crap?
Because I was tired.
So tired from the training.
The training,
Gotcha.
But I was feeling like because my it was like do 10, 10, 10. For me, it was like to keep going, right? And I knew that I needed to do like a 20K, because that's what everybody told you, like to keep a.
Yeah.
But I was trying to reach the shortest days with the maximum volume, right? And that's why I was like. Yeah, and the problem is, like, women have the period, right? And when you
What's that? I know nothing about that. Do you know that?
I've read about it.
Oh.
When you are
some excuse for bad moods now and again.
when you are trying to do long swims and you have the period, it's like crap, and that's what you need to do, right? But it was like, I started with 8 or 10, 8. 12, and the combination was roughly to 44.
But that's good. That's good mileage, though. That's still, in my mind, I think a lot of guys arrive at these marathon swims overtrained.
Yeah. That was a discussion with Hayden, for example, because as soon as we reached the first window, I was tapering, right? Because I did the epic.
Yeah.
The epic, it was supposed to be my last long swim, right? The epic means roughly 20 Ks in one day, right? After that, it was to taper, to get down in 10 days, because my first window was roughly at the end of January, right? The 31st.
Not enough, eh?
Well, that's the thing. The first window was removed from. I mean, the forecast was not good, and we needed to wait 2 more weeks, right?
Yeah.
But I remember that I discussed it with Hayden, and he told me, you need to know how to rest. And it was like, yeah, but when you are struggling and you don't know how your body is reacting and how is your body needs, because train for 20K for me was easy, right? Because I did it once, and for the second time, I was also, right? I mean, when I went for Apolima the second time, for me, I was like on a mission, not only on my effort or of my will.
I think everybody in Samoa knew that you were on a mission that second time. But you're detracting. Go back to Taupo.
But 2020 is fine, right? And I knew how to, because you can prepare it easily in the pool or whatever, right? But for a double, it was. I remember discussing with you, you know how to. Probably 30 is affordable, but 40 is it's like the marathon and the half marathon and the marathon, right? You are not gonna train the same way, right? And it's easy when you know, but as soon as it's
first time, right? You're stepping into the unknown, yeah.
Now I know, but I the thing is because the first window was, it was not there. I start to get scared, and I start to say, okay, if I'm resting too much, that is not gonna happen.
Yeah.
And that was my first,
Yeah.
I wanted to do it because I was struggling a lot, and I needed to have it done because I was struggling with my work a lot because everything was, getting worse.
So, rumor has it.
Sorry?
Rumor has it
Yeah?
that you were deported from Spain because you speak too much. And you speak too fast. And you can't stay focused on the conversation. We're talking about Taupo.
Yeah, but that's you. When the first window went off, I mean, it was not possible. And I needed to keep my volume up.
How long was the gap between the first window cancellation?
It was almost, it was like 20 days. It was almost 3 weeks.
So you carried on with your mileage?
No, what I did is I started trying to swim with the squats again, in a low volume or in a low. But I remember discussing with Hayden, and he told me, go home. You need to know how to rest. And at that time, it was I don't know. I mean, and I already did a 10K the day before, and it was I don't know how to cope that, right?
Why?
The thing is because you never know what, I mean, and that was my mission. I mean, I only wanted to do it. I mean, I only wanted to finish and get it done because, everything was, getting worse at work. The thing, yeah.
Thank you for bringing the chocolate. Let's make this compulsory for all people to interview, yeah?
But yeah, I mean, Taupo. What else do you want to see? I mean...
What time of the day did you start your swim?
At 4, it was...
It's always at 4 o'clock in the morning, isn't it?
Yeah, but I started at 5:15.
Why?
I started late because the weather was not good. The wind was not good. The thing is, it was funny because I was getting dressed, right? I was starting to get prepared. I was with my dogs, with all the sunscreen and all the stuff. And Neff told me, "Go to bed. You are not starting." And it's why? And it's no, the wind is not ready. I mean, the wind is not ready. I mean, the thing is you need to wait.
It's too windy, yeah.
It's too windy, and you cannot. You need to wait. You need to wait. And he told me 1 more hour, right? And I was in the bed like this with all the sunscreen. And it was, it was like, and I put like a towel underneath because, but at the end I get, I
Marathon swimming is a very sexy sport, huh? Especially that suntan and goggle marks.
That thick sunscreen whatsoever. But I started swimming like it was like 5:15 or something, and it was already clear.
Benefit of that would be that you wouldn't have had as much time swimming in the dark, right?
Well, at the beginning,
a little bit.
Yeah,
but what I'm saying is,
it was already clear.
Yeah, got you. Okay, so.
I mean,
I'm assuming the first 5Ks, 10Ks, 15Ks goes past.
It was rough.
Pretty easy. It was good, rough, wavy weather, yeah? And what did that make you feel? Like
Neff told me that they wanted to pull me out because of the weather.
Yeah.
Because the wind was too wind. There was a lot of wind.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
but they didn't tell you this, right?
No.
So you're just swimming along. You're feeling okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was feeling amazing. I mean,
yep.
I was feeling the wind, but like I did in the first time in Apolima, I only wanted to get it done.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everything came smoothly. And I remember that, like, my coach was telling me, like, you are still swimming good. And it was like, oh my goodness, what does it mean? Right? Like, what is the expectation? But I was feeling awesome. I mean, to be fair, it was so nice.
Yeah.
But
so the wind came down.
Yeah, I mean, I can describe my swim in 3 parts. The first part was rough.
Yeah.
And if you see my track, you can see straight away, like, the wind was taking me out.
Yeah.
And I redirection, and, you can see, like, it, because it's a snake,
yeah.
I did 42. I
okay. That's not bad, right? What the shortest route is 40.2
40.2, yeah. But
so you did a little bit extra, yeah?
Yeah, but anyway, the thing is, like,
marathon.
I remember, like, I didn't want to know my time or whatsoever, but I saw the point, and all of a sudden I told Phil Rush, he was in the boat support, and I told him, this is the point, and I was counting hours, right? And I was expecting to listen, it's 11 hours, because
the point is like 30 Ks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he told me, no, you are in 9 hours and a half, and you are doing awesome. And it's like, oh my goodness. But after that point, to arrive to the point, I was feeling good, but I started to feeling crap on my left hand.
Yeah.
My wrist was falling apart, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't want
to
say
just like the strength disappeared just with fatigue?
No, it was, I was swimming with my thumb here.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't keep my thumb properly, like, and my wrist was falling apart. And
okay.
You can see, like, because I'm breathing by the right.
Yeah.
And this combination.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm strong, but I think that I'm not that strong. Anyway, the thing is, like, I was swimming towards the point, and I start to feel, but it was never there, right? It's like you are swimming towards something, but it was never there.
That last piece is
exactly.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, I remember, like, when Phil told me, like, you need to speed up. If not, we are gonna be here all night.
He's a grumpy old man sometimes.
That's the one of the 2 sentences that I listened, and the second one was from Neff. But I'm not gonna blame him. But when I listened that sentence from Phil, it was like, oh my God, everything went down. And that was the point when I started, like.
But this is uncharted territory now, right? So you've never gone that distance. You've still got 10 Ks to go.
Yeah.
So your whole mentally, physically, you're in a brand new space, right?
Mm.
What were you feeding on?
I was using Mortine. My schedule was use Mortine.
Yeah.
And electrolytes.
Yeah.
I was using Mortine every half an hour.
Yeah. Anything physical to like hard to eat? No. Just liquids.
Yeah. I was doing Mortine every half an hour, or after the first hour, it was Mortine every half an hour, and electrolytes every 2 hours. I had this half an hour, and one of electrolytes.
Couple of painkillers at 30 Ks.
Well, I had one, and they never wanted to give me one more because, Phil told, because he was saying that, it's already, yeah.
You've had it. Were you cold?
No, that was the tricky part. Like when I finished, I was crying. I was like trying to get, and because I finished on the rocks. I never finished on the beach because it was pitch dark, right?
Yep.
The problem is
so the rocks are a little bit to the left. Of
yeah,
the boat
exactly.
track,
I was rough. I was rocked by the
down the river.
Yeah.
That was the problem because the small boat.
Phil made you go skew. I'm hearing the full rush went skew.
It's
And
not
he
just
blamed,
us.
exactly. It's not just us.
Well, the thing
Mr.
is,
Rush.
The problem
record, dude.
the problem was is like the IRB stopped working.
Yeah.
The IRB was not working the last 3 hours, right? All of a sudden,
So you were
the
just the
petrol.
big boats, yeah?
Exactly. That was and I was scared to see my boat, and I was not seeing Mike. Mike was driving the boat, and I was not seeing Mike. And if he's not seeing me, if I don't cannot see him, he's not seeing me, right? And I was scared, and I was not close. But Phil started telling me like, "Go closer, go closer, go closer," and it's like, I'm scared. I don't want to get closer. But those last 3 hours were only swimming with the boat, but not closer. And I was dragged by the river and finishing on the rocks, pitch dark, with no one. I mean, but the good thing is like Mark and Jackie were there, and they saved me. like a small kid. And all the time they took me to the hospital because Phil was saying that I was purple and I was hypothermic.
But you didn't feel it.
No, but they were thinking that I was because I was
when you were on the beach.
No, because when I was swimming, they saw purple color on my back, but I was responsive and I was responding. I was, I mean, I was getting cold because I was, it was dark and everything. Sorry, it was falling apart. But they took me to the hospital all of the sudden when I finished because they were saying that I was hypothermic. But
it can be quite tricky. We teach all of the lifeguards when we teach them about hypothermia. One of the things is that people will often deny that they're cold, even though that they are hypothermic. So I'm not saying that you were hypothermic, but people are taught that just because someone says that they're okay doesn't mean that they are okay. So,
I mean, and that's
you finish. You're lying on the rocks. Half of your body's going, woohoo, I finished.
No, I was crying. I was only.
So you weren't crying for joy. You were crying because you were toast.
Because exactly. I mean, because I was very painful on my wrist. I mean, and I was not expecting that. When you are trying to I mean, when I was training, I never thought that my wrist was going to fall apart. And then mentally, it was like, oh my goodness, I'm tough enough to finish this. But I was suffering like low back or whatsoever, but I never expected to have like a wrist sprain or something. And at the end, it was like, oh my goodness, that's the worst because everything was fine. My food was perfect. I was feeling perfect because I knew that I needed to add electrolytes, and that was the missing part in Apolima, for example.
You know what you can do next time?
What?
I've picked it up from a couple of marathon swimmers to strengthen your wrist. If you wash dishes more often instead of using the dishwasher.
Do that.
Okay.
I don't have a dishwasher.
Okay. So full of it.
Okay.
He's going to say that's why I've got wrist problems because I use a dishwasher now.
Now I'm trying to do like a lot of mobility on my wrist or whatsoever, but I still like not feeling full recovered. And it was at the end of January. At the end of January. But I am still not feeling like when I'm doing something
Still
like,
sore, yeah?
not sore, but I changed my watch from from the left to the right, because I was thinking, like, I'm trying to understand, like, this is the crap. I mean, this is the crap one. You need to get it stronger, right? And that's the thing. I mean, and when I'm doing some weights, I'm always using like my weights on my wrist. But it's a joint. You cannot do too much. It's not a muscle. You cannot get anything. You cannot get more strength because it's a joint. I mean, it's something like you can only achieve it if you are.
You can't strap it or something like that.
Well, yeah, I can band it. I mean, probably next time or whatsoever, if I'm doing something long, it's like to.
Listen, I don't want to hear about your problems, right? I think you just need to toughen up a little bit. Just shut up. Tell me about Apolima. First time.
That's how you want to tell me about Apolima.
I'm ready for it now.
Everybody knows what happened in Apolima.
Okay, so first,
what do you want to know? Because I can't blame too many people.
No, I don't want to blame anybody, right? So the summary from my side, I guess, is I'm hoping, because it's something that I would love to go and do one day as well. But you've mentioned that the actual venue per se is unbelievable, right? You spoke about the reef and
the problem in Apolima is how you set up the race, or how you set up the track, right? Because it's supposed to be a race, right? That's what they say.
That's debatable, right? I mean, the first
time that I went to Apolima, it was only 2 people, right? It was Sam and myself.
Yep.
You cannot have a race with 2 people, right? And at the end, it was like a swim trip, like 7-day trip, right? And it was set with us. And it was like, okay, he wanted to make it the day in the middle, right? But without paying attention to the forecast. That was the problem.
Because obviously there's a whole bunch of other things happening on the island with swim races
because
right?
it was set up, the trip was set up like 3 days on one side, the resort day, and 3 more days in the other side in Savai, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, like, he was not paying attention to the forecast. I mean, I was on his hands, right? Yeah. I never expected. I mean, I was expecting someone to rely on the forecast. If you are a local, you are relying on a local, right? That's what you are expecting.
Sure.
To have, and if you are paying for everything, right? And I needed to pay extra money for the kayak. That's fair enough. But the thing is, like, because Sam has his dad, and at the end, okay, whatever. I mean, I pay for the kayak. But if you are taking a kayak with you, he needs to understand English, That's the first thing. The first kayak that I had, he never understood me, but it was an awesome person. And I can tell you, he was very helpful.
But
and he was
communication was difficult, yeah?
Yeah, but but it was good because he was there all the time. But it was a crap kayak. That was the first thing.
Is crap a Spanish word? Or is it universal?
It's un kayak de mierda.
Gotcha.
If you want to say it. But the thing is, like, whatever about the forecast, I was pulled out or whatsoever. But the thing is, like, there are some conditions that you need to understand from the beginning. And I was a newie. I mean, I was new, and I was relying on him, and he already knew it that it was my first long swim.
I'm guessing if I have an earache now, he would have had an earache at that point in time as well, right? No. Okay. Okay. So in summary, what I just want to point out for our listeners, right, is that you embarked on a trip. The forecast was pretty shitty, but you attempted the swim anyway.
Yeah.
And obviously, because the weather was so bad, the swim was abandoned, right?
What?
Is that?
Yeah, but because there wasn't a storm, and the police came and said
the police came.
Pull out. Yeah, I mean, Sam was pulled out by the police. I was lost.
Oh, so you were swimming and they were doing their thing, and
we were at some point we were separated, and there was a curtain, right? I mean, there was a curtain. I mean, because a curtain of of raining, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I couldn't see anything. I needed to change my breath. I was starting to breathe my by left, and I needed to stop because I couldn't see anything. And the kayaker saw me, and he came to pick me up.
Yeah.
And they told me to go to the boat and get out.
Yeah.
But without telling, like, you are pulled out because
you
of the
didn't
weather.
really know
But I
why.
knew it,
Yeah.
and I knew it that the other ones were with the police, and that's the only thing. The problem was, like, we already knew that the storm was there. I mean, I'm not a swimmer, and I can do whatever, but the current was left. I was pulled out by the wind, and they were telling me to go to the right, and it's like, how the heck do you want me to go to the right if I drift to the left? You know, I mean, that was unbelievable wrong. And that's the problem. I mean, you cannot set up. And that's in the second
How
time.
long had you been swimming for by the time they pulled you out?
We were almost there. It was 15K.
Oh, really? Eh? Wow, that must have been frustrating. Eh?
That's hard, eh?
I mean, if you see my truck, it was a banana, and we could see. I mean, we were discussing. The kayaker could see the ferry terminal.
So there's two technical terms I've picked up. One was a snake,
Yeah, and the other's banana.
the banana. Yeah. So when we write a book one day, right? Those are the official terms. Right?
Well, is that right?
Banana's not good.
You are.
Snake, yeah.
You are not. You don't know what you are doing. You have a captain, right? You are someone. You are following someone.
Okay, so you get pulled out. You're obviously frustrated. You come back home. And you decide to go back and get it done
No.
the following year.
Before the last day, Sevi offered me to come back again in August
Yes.
without paying any stuff, like only the flight,
That's
Because-
pretty cool, yeah?
because he had another swim trip
Yep.
when they were doing this Samoan swim series in August. And, because I knew it that my Cochrane and Sana, they were coming. I used Mike to be sure that something was happening in the right.
Weather,
Direction?
etc. Yes.
And I talked to Mike the day before, and, but the thing is, like, I accepted because I wanted to get it done. I mean,
Sure.
but because Sam was coming too, and it was like, okay, now I know what I need to do, right? And it's like, okay, for the second time, I'm on a mission. But it was like a preparation of, it's a tough preparation, right? When you are doing this kind of stuff. And from May to August is only 3 months? And it's like, to reset
So,
and to start again. And during the winter, that is tough.
so the tricky part with any open water swim, right, is obviously that weather window, right? Because you can do all the training and do all the preparation, but at the end of the day, you're in the hands of the weather gods, right? And there's thousands or hundreds of swimmers out there, I guess, that would have had a similar frustration to you in that they've just gone to the English Channel and just they're not allowed to swim. Right?
Yeah, totally.
The frustrating part for you, I guess, is that you actually attempted the swim when you knew probably at the start you shouldn't have started it, right? But hats off to you and hats off, I guess, to the guys at the Apolima Strait that you have eventually got it done. And it's an amazing swim. And,
amazing swim. I mean, you need to set up the truck
yes.
because because they wanted us to finish by the ferry terminal, and to do that, you need to go around the reef.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that because you are expecting only to finish to arrive to the land, right?
Yeah, shortest possible route, right? Yeah.
And I was in front of the land, and they told me to swim 1 more K
Yeah.
because they wanted us to touch the land near the ferry terminal.
Yeah, that
And
would do my head in.
we never had a captain speech or someone, because when I did Taupo, Phil Rush and Mike, they came to me the previous night and they told me, okay, are you ready?
A briefing.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. You are expecting a briefing, right?
Yeah.
But no one say anything the second time. But probably because we were angry. all the
You
the
know
four
what?
of us,
I'm going to
we
take
were
a wild guess here and say they were scared shitless of you, Ruth, because I know I am. So they
Well, you are. You, I mean,
they were
I'm not
hiding
saying
from you.
you are. You
When
are.
you walked out the hotel room, the whole island just disappeared, hiding in their huts and shit because
You know,
there's this
I
vicious
can be-
Spanish woman.
You know, I should have this character, but I'm telling you the truth. I mean, what I don't like is like someone is, you know, expecting like whatsoever and being abusive. I mean, you're expecting if you are setting up something with someone, you're expecting someone else to perform because you are paying that person, and if that person is a local. You know, if I'm telling,
You're relying on their
if I'm telling
expertise.
Duncan, let's do Rangitoto, what are you gonna do?
So for the listeners, please send me an email. Good point. Come and swim Rangitoto. We've got spaces available. I will do a briefing with you the night before. I will tell you the weather.
But
We're not gonna do it.
now that I know, you it was that in your list. I mean, I'm expecting that from a professional point of view.
Yeah.
I mean, you're expecting from someone to tell you that these are their
I agree.
concerns, right?
I agree, but
Not that you are gonna be, you can die. Because that's what he told me, like, you can die. And it's like, he was asking the previous day, the phone numbers, my brother's phone number to call my imagine, calling my brother and say, no, Ruth is there. And it's like, okay, thank you now.
I'm with you.
And, it's like,
you are putting your life and your safety in their hands, and they can do better, right? But before you answer, zip it, have a chocolate.
No more.
Have a
No,
chocolate,
I
have a
already had a.
Let's move away from this topic, and I want to know, Ruth, what's next? What's next?
What's next?
What does your bucket list look like? What's coming?
I mean, I was discussing that with Sana the other day, and she was asking me like, "Are you gonna do Rangitoto?" And my answer is yes, right? And I have and I discussed it with Mark many times, and it was like, yeah. I mean, there are so many swims, so many races in Australia. Like, I would love to do it, but
what would you like to do in Australia?
no, there are a couple that Mark told me, but I want to do Cook Strait. I mean, that's not my priority, but that's what I'm aiming for.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that I'm gonna do Rangitoto, but it's gonna be
That'll be a preparation.
So a preparation, like to go through Cook Strait.
If you're gonna do Cook Strait, you might as well follow that on with and do Fovo Strait and do.
Yeah. I want to
triple?
that's
Okay.
because I've been the first Spanish woman to do the Taupo. I want to be the first. I mean, I'm telling you too much, but but that's I mean, now that I'm here and no one can keep me out of this country, I'm gonna use it on my preference somehow. But yeah, I mean, my expectation is probably to do Rangitoto next year and do and prepare the preparation to do West Strait if I have availability for the next season.
That's some nice goals. The Apolima Strait is amazing, Jim. You and I are going to go and swim that one day because I've heard only good things about it. Ruth, the other thing is that you speak more than anybody I've ever met in my life.
What?
Yeah, 100%. I've got 3 daughters, and I reckon you speak more than all of them combined put together.
What do you mean?
I mean, you speak.
It's bad.
No, it's not.
It's not a bad thing.
That's good.
It's not a bad
That's
thing.
good.
I told you. I mean, I can blame. I mean, I can
it's
talk
amazing.
shit whatsoever.
It's amazing.
And,
It's been a lovely
sign.
conversation.
imagine in Spanish or in Catalan.
I don't want to imagine. But we appreciate all of the passion that you have for not
Well,
only
that's
New
a
Zealand.
problem, and yeah, sometimes it's a big problem.
No, it's not a problem.
It's a good problem to have.
We need more of you in the water, and we hope to follow your journey because
Well, I need your help too. But
you've got our help. No, absolutely no problem. We'll be there for you, and hopefully we'll do a couple of training swims together.
yeah,
And hopefully maybe in a year or 2 we'll sit down again and we'll have a part B to this conversation and we'll see if the people
What's
in
the-
Samoa have
what's
come
the
out of
plan?
their huts yet.
No, I'm not coming back to Samoa. Sorry.
Cool. It's been really cool talking. Thank you so much, Ruthy.
Thank you.
I love this conversation. And I love the passion. It really is.
I mean, I
I'm
can't
a bit
talk.
nervous.
I can't talk
Still
too
scared.
much bullshit. I mean, I can't talk too much. That's why I told you.
I can
What do you
talk a lot
want
of
to
shit as
listen? What is your, I mean, yeah. I mean, thank you.
Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that and was able to keep up with Ruthy. It was a bit of a challenge for us as well. We enjoyed the chat. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. Cheers. Bye.